Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever wondered what it actually takes to become, well, a completely elevated human being? Not just, a good person, but someone operating on an entirely different level of existence? Today, in this explainer, we're exploring a seriously fascinating philosophical text written by Xu Fang. It was originally put together as a Lunar New Year's message to humanity, and it lays out this incredibly specific framework for a better life. We are going to unpack the exact traits required to reach what the author calls sainthood. And look, whether you view that term through a spiritual lens or just as a metaphor for ultimate human optimization, the insights here are profound, highly structured, and as you'll see, often completely counterintuitive.
So to really grasp this framework, we kind of have to look at its origins. The author, Xu Feng, established an institution known as Life Chen Yuan University. Now, this isn't your traditional college where you go to get a degree in, say, economics or engineering. It is uniquely dedicated to cultivating sages or saints. But here's the kicker, and what makes the source material so striking. After all the teaching, all the curriculum, and all the time invested, only 7 graduates have actually achieved this ultimate goal of sainthood. Just 7.
To put that into perspective, we're talking about 20 solid years of nurturing, teaching, and intense practice versus exactly 7 saints successfully nurtured. That is an astonishingly low yield, right? Which immediately tells us something absolutely crucial. The bar for this achievement is sky high. According to Xu Feng, it's rare, it's difficult, and it is definitely not handed out lightly. The author notes that while this outcome might seem super modest, these few fruits are deeply significant. So what exactly makes these 7 individuals so special? Let's unpack the 8 specific traits or revelations that these 7 people universally share.
Pillar 1, the foundation. This is all about time and mindset. And this brilliantly illustrates the first revelation, which deals with the, frankly, grueling reality of the journey. Out of those 7 individuals, the absolute fastest anyone completed the study at Life Chen Yuan University was 13 years. The longest was 20 years. We live in this world of instant gratification, where we want life hacks to completely transform ourselves over a single weekend retreat. But the text explicitly states that true transformation is never an overnight process. Achieving this state requires long-term study, relentless practice, and an unwavering persistence that spans a lifetime. You literally cannot rush the foundation. Moving on to Revelation 2, it shifts to your mental baseline. The primary prerequisite for this path, absolute clarity of mind. These graduates have the capacity to distinguish priorities, understand the exact sequence of what needs to be done, and discern what actually matters. Think about our everyday struggle just to focus on one single task without checking our phones. The author is super direct here. If you have a muddled mind, or if your thinking is confused, you are completely disqualified. You have zero hope of reaching this level. You must be able to express structured, profound thought.
Moving into Pillar 2, the practice. We're shifting from the brain down to action and emotion.
Revelation 3 hits on a hard truth. Saints are made through action, not words. These folks aren't just sitting cross-legged on a mountaintop spouting empty slogans or superficial rhetoric. They are incredibly pragmatic. Over the span of a decade or more, they've just put their heads down and moved forward steadily, focusing wholeheartedly on their work and refining what the author calls their non-material lives. They rarely let a single day go to waste. It's a highly grounded approach. You have to actually do the work. But how exactly do they navigate that daily grind? Well, Revelation 4 demands what I'd call radical emotional stability. They consistently praise others. They never harm, blame, or resent anyone. They literally never calculate their own personal gains or losses, and they work tirelessly in silence. Just imagine trying to apply that to modern workplace dynamics or family relationships. To continuously give, to never demand a single thing in return, and to remain completely untouched by the urge to blame someone else when things go wrong. The author frames this as the ultimate display of selfless emotional discipline. Pillar 3 takes us deeper into the internal work, the spirit, steadfastness, and detachment. Having mastered their actions, Revelation 5 guides us into their internal spiritual world. The text uses some pretty vivid imagery here. Whether the journey is marked by clear skies and smooth sailing, or you're stuck in a fierce storm with torrential rain, they stay utterly focused. They don't get distracted. They never look back. They embrace the one. In a world full of constant pivots and second-guessing, this trait is all about deciding your ultimate direction and becoming entirely immune to the changing weather of life. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the, frankly hilarious, almost bizarre anecdote the author uses for Revelation 6. Xu Feng, as the headmaster of the university, gives this example. He says he might tell these saints that 3 times 8 equals 23, and get this, they will never argue with him about it. They won't correct him, they won't debate the math, nothing.
Now obviously, we all know 3 times 8 is 24, right? And the text clarifies this immediately. The saints aren't agreeing because Xu Feng is mathematically correct. They don't argue because they have achieved total selflessness. They have entirely subdued the ego's desperate need to be right, to correct others, or to win a petty argument. It's a really profound metaphor for non-attachment. They are materially unattached as well, possessing nothing and dedicating everything they have to their greater spiritual purpose. They've transcended the self completely.
Pillar 4. The Paradox. This brings us to play and purpose.
We are now building up to the climax of this framework, and it's going to completely flip your preconceived notions upside down. If I ask you right now, what does a saint look like? I want you to really picture it in your mind for a second. What comes up? You're probably picturing a traditional holy figure, right? Someone very serious, draped in robes, maybe looking rather stern, silently contemplating the universe in a quiet, isolated room. You picture extreme solemnity.
Well, Revelation 7 destroys that expectation entirely. The text specifically points out that these graduates are not solemn and rigid. The reality? They are incredibly lively. They're agile, romantic, and wildly optimistic. The author literally describes them as childlike and playful, noting that they know how to play. They are vibrant and cheerful. This is such a distinctly unconventional take on elevated consciousness. It suggests that the closer you get to perfection, the lighter, happier, and more joyful you become, rather than becoming stiff and overly serious.
So, the crucial point is how that playfulness connects to the final trait. Revelation 8 grounds all that joyous energy in a massive universal purpose. They hold the well-being of all beings in their hearts. They aren't just playful for the sake of it, they are joyfully walking toward what the author calls the paradise of heaven. The text emphasizes that without this highest aspiration, without an unwavering faith directed toward universal well-being, sainthood is fundamentally unattainable and definitely cannot be sustained.
Which brings us to the final section, a blueprint for paradise, the ultimate goal.
Let's bring all these thematic pillars together. The required timeline, the clear mind, the emotional discipline, and that purpose-driven playfulness. The overarching goal of sharing this framework is explicitly stated at the very end of the text. It's intended as a literal blueprint to transform the world into a paradise for everyone. The author hopes that all people on earth might achieve this level of sainthood. The ultimate vision here is a reality where all beings enjoy joyful, happy, free, and completely blissful lives. It's a completely utopian vision, but one that is based strictly on individual internal transformation.
So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to carry forward. Whether you subscribe to the spiritual elements of this text or you simply view it as an intense philosophical framework for self-improvement, there are some incredible takeaways here. From refusing to engage in petty arguments, to working tirelessly without complaining, to maintaining a childlike sense of play amidst your heavy responsibilities, which of these 8 traits will you reflect on? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll see you next time.